Welcome to CNI, Catalan News International, where we will bring to you the most updated news from around the globe. I'm Indah Iswani, and this is CNI. Our headline today comes from Russia. 1,300 people were arrested for protesting against President Putin's mobilization, while others scrambled to fly out of Russia. The Kremlin has 4 months fought for its domestic normalcy while pursuing its smoldering war in Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin's declaration of partial mobilization has, for some Russians, shattered that illusion. By the time Putin's recorded announcement was done playing on TV on Wednesday, Russians were scrambling to buy the last available flights out of the country. By late evening, more than 100 people had been detained at protests denouncing the move. For the first time, many draft-age Russian men and their families are contending with the prospect of fighting and dying in a conflict the Kremlin just intensified. It is a line Putin has seemed loath to cross despite growing pressure, one that analysts warned could backfire on the Kremlin. For many ordinary Russians, this late summer morning brought back memories of February 24, when they awoke to the news that their president had already launched what the Kremlin insists on calling its special military operation. Putin waited until business hours in Moscow to announce the call-off of reservists Wednesday, but the shock was the same. Protesters took to the streets across the country to voice their opposition to the move. By Wednesday night, 1,311 people in 38 cities had been detained under Russia's anti-protest laws, according to the independent OVD Info protest monitoring group. With his military in retreat and Ukraine advancing, analysts say Putin appeared to have made the largest political gamble of his career. The declaration Wednesday is only the 3rd time in Russian history that the government has called for military mobilization. The 2 others were in 1914 and 1941, during the First and Second World Wars. Although the Kremlin insists the mobilization is limited to 300,000 reservists, the wording of the order doesn't specify or enforce any meaningful limitation on draft orders. That has left many rushing to figure out whether they are about to be called up. For weeks now, as Ukraine successfully staged 2 counteroffensives that put Putin's military on its back foot, pro-war activists have been calling for the Kremlin to take the gloves off, criticizing the way much of Russian society has been allowed to sit on the sidelines. In the first days and weeks of the conflict, there was a sense of shock in Russia as the country became a global pariah abandoned by Western businesses. But over time, and with ample encouragement from the Kremlin, the general public was able to carry on with life and not think too much of the war. In Moscow and St. Petersburg especially, summer of 2022 was enjoyed just like any other. That's all the news for tonight. Stay tuned for another international news only on CNI.